Slow your roll, Tony. We're almost there. I have to make sure we're up.
Mhm.
Any day now. YouTube. Any day now.
Yeah, it doesn't want to start. Here we go.
It's tired. There we go. All right, we're up. And whenever you're ready.
You're listening to MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your one-stop candy shop for all things Madonna Louise, Veronica Ciccone. Hey guys, I'm Tony. Welcome.
Hey everybody, it's Ben, and we will not be talking about Candy Shop tonight. That's the end of it.
Hey everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to a very impromptu live show. It's a Monday. Happy to be here. And I want to welcome back friend of the podcast, Ahmad. Hello, Ahmad.
Hey everyone,
Welcome, Ahmad.
thanks for having me back.
Yes, thanks for pitching in at the last minute. Liberty wasn't unable to make it due to personal commitments. So I was like, let's have a room full of fine, handsome gentlemen to look at on a Monday. Ahmad, how are things in Canada? He's representing Toronto. So how is Toronto these days?
You mean the fascist state of Toronto?
Mm,
Yeah.
It's doing good. Not the same without Madonna here, but we're living.
yes. Well, who knows? Maybe she'll be coming back.
Sikik is here if she's doing any more music with him. Just saying.
Are you seeing Sikik?
Yeah.
When is he going to be there?
No, he lives in Toronto. That's what I meant.
Oh.
You guys, I had to stop following Sickick because he is a Trumper.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible to hear. Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Shame
have to
Canada.
unfollow him too. Oh, damn it.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, he did a remix of the eating dogs thing, and he was like, people were commenting on it saying Trump 2024, and he was like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
Oh God. I thought that was he was making
So
fun of it. That's why I didn't
I
even
I thought so too, and then I saw the comments, and I'm like, oh, it's
oh,
not a joke.
that's
He wants to
disheartening.
he wants to get traction using that, hoping it was going to get
Sure.
reposted. Exactly. Anyway, that's the last we're going to speak about Sickick on this podcast.
Correct. Yeah. He's dead to us now. Uh um Well, I haven't got much time to waste. It's time to make my way. We're going to jump right into things. It's time for a little This Week in Ciccone. Uh, I switched it up because Liberty's not here. I was like,
Yeah. You're not
she
going to
can't.
sing?
I'm not singing. No, no, no. I don't have the voice today. Well, Madonna set fans into a frenzy this afternoon with one simple Instagram post saying, London calling, back in the stew with Stuart Price. And she posted myriad photos of her in a recording studio environment with confessions on a dance floor producer, Stuart Price. The big question, of course, is she trolling us or is she making new music with Stuart? So I'm going to say to everyone watching, please put your comments and suggestions of what you think Madonna is up to in the studio with Stuart Price in the chat. We will get to that in a
Hmm.
little bit, but we're going to start off with our guest of honor tonight, Ahmad. Ahmad, you first. What do you think Madonna is up to in the studio with Stuart?
I mean, I'm split. I think everyone here is like, there's a 50% chance this is new music, which, like you, Stefan, I'm always hoping for new music. But then at the same time, you're like, we've been through this before. We hope, we wish, and then it's like, okay, nothing. Either nothing comes out of it, or it's artistic vision or something. So yeah, I'm kind of split. But then I keep going. I keep going through the pictures, and I scroll and I zoom in, and then some of them you can see through the laptop. There's a lot of text in the, especially in the laptop. If you see, there's like a proper page printed out. So either it's new music. I can't see her recording audio for the tour film because that's never been done before. Yeah, she's reshot footage for like Madam X, but that was video footage, not audio. The only other thing I can see it being is if she's doing the tour film and it's kind of like a documentary style. You know how with I'm Gonna Tell You a Secret, there's
Yeah.
this um,
Hmm.
whole like her narrating the movie. That could be basically another option. But why would she need Stuart Price for that?
Okay,
That's
good.
more of, yeah.
We're gonna yes and so Tony, what are your thoughts?
I actually have no thoughts. I mean, I looked at all the photos and I zoomed in, and it was giving me a lot of that hashtag magic, where Madam X was being recorded and we got clues, and a lot of those clues didn't materialize the way that we thought they would.
Hmm.
Um, so that's why I take all of these with a grain of salt. You know, Stuart Price, he remixed the actual show, I mean, he put the sonic landscape together, and the soundscape, I guess, and he also did the DJ set before the shows. um I don't know if this is part of them working together on the sound design for the Celebration Tour video. I hope for new music, but I hate to speculate on that if I don't know any of the details,
Yeah.
especially since, we don't, she has a way of distributing her music, but we don't know if there is A&R. We don't know if there is an actual, label liaison. So yeah, so it's just like I said, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt every step of the way. Hopefully it builds up to an actual presentation, of new work, hopefully.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Ben, what about you?
All right, Stefan, I'm going to be you tonight, your usual anyway. I think it is new music. I think any kind of recording she needed to do for the tour, she did weeks ago when she was in the studio previously. Here's why. One, the lyrics on the laptop and in the notebook. So somebody in the chat used some kind of Photoshop sharpening tool and actually quoted some of the lyrics that were on the notebook,
Oh,
which
well.
I was never able.
Oh,
Apparently, she's rhyming moving and mixing with wing, and there's a line that says, "A love I want that's some word that ends in ABLE." Also, I thinking about her 2023, I can totally see her watching that. I'm just going to keep my opinions to myself in public. The film All of Us Strangers, and I can see her really resonating with that, the
Mm.
themes in the film and what
Hmm.
happens. And maybe that was the breakthrough that she needed to write about sort of life after death, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, so yeah, I think it's new
mm.
music. I really
Yeah.
do. Because,
Welcome on board, Ben. I'm glad to
well,
finally have you.
and one more thing to what Ahmad said, the fact that if you cast your mind back, they recorded Confessions in his old attic apartment in London. There was
Yep.
no engineer, there were no techs. They did all of it until, did Pat come in and master that one? Was that the last one that he did? Or did he, because he didn't master Hard Candy, which was her last Warner's album. The guy that started working with her, or Spike did Confessions. So like they wouldn't need another person until they get to that part.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's new music.
well, I'm glad to hear you say that, Ben. Of course, I like to look at the clues, as Ahmad said. You know, she always, whenever she's working on new music, she has that little notebook because she always
Mm.
does traditional handwriting stuff. Um, the big thing where I thought, okay, because I try to talk myself off a ledge whenever she does stuff like this. I get very irate because I think, Madonna, why are you teasing us again? Like, here we
Hmm.
go again, teasing us. Oh, look, I'm in the studio. You think it's new music, and then it's not. And like months go by, and we either don't find out what it is, like it just never comes to fruition, like her ill-fated Sickick track or the Max Martin track or like any of the night before she went to the hospital with Katy Perry in the studio or this, like there's
Hmm.
so many like empty promises of music existing. And yes, I work myself up and I always like, oh yeah, here the new music, it's coming, and then it never comes. And so today when she posted it, everyone was hopping on it's the new music bandwagon. I was on the opposite end of that. For the first time in a long time, I was like, she's trolling us. Like, this is all a lie. Like, she's just she's just doing what she always does. Oh, look, I'm in the studio. And it has nothing to do with new music at all. I was like, oh, she's recording vocals for the tour film, but I was like, it has nothing to do with new music at all. However,
I'm gonna give you another counterpoint
okay.
before we get too far away from it, is the fact that think about the last time Stuart produced an album, it also gathered songs that had been written for multiple other projects. The Hello Suckers musical,
Yep.
songs that she had been writing on tour, leftovers from American Life that they were then sort of redoing for Hello Suckers that then ended up. So it's very possible that the Sickick song, the Max Martin song, they could still be the songwriters on the originals. And just like the songs that she did with Mirway and who were those producers from Sweden, the ones that did Britney and
Blood,
then
Shy, and
Bloodshine
Avant.
and Avant.
Blood,
Yeah.
yeah, think about it. They did the original tracks, but Stewart reproduced them as he did the entire tour and that amazing mixtape that they just casually put on the internet right after the Rio show. Can you imagine if the new album sounds like that mixtape? I would die.
I'm
Anyway,
dead. Yeah.
I mean, yes.
But
Anyway,
but
that
no, as you were
further
saying, so like
evidence.
again, more evidence as to like why I suddenly shifted my perspective into thinking I think it's new music is because there's no TV screen in the room that we can see. And
True.
True.
if she was doing something for the tour film, we'd see a TV screen. She'd be in one of those mixing editing suites, and she's not. This is a total music creation room with keyboards and pads, and like it's Stewart's element. And yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Our fifth perspective comes from Lady Liberty, who was unable to join us tonight. She asked me to read this on air, so I'm reading it word for word according to her wishes. She's definitely in the
Stefan,
studio.
wait. Before you start, will you say, I am an Italian American and I'm proud of it?
Yeah. What doesn't she get pissed at the audience where she's or no, like the
Yeah.
Italians are like trying to
Yeah.
quiet everybody down.
I will not finish. I will
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
start until I have silence.
Yeah,
Okay, go.
So Liberty says she's definitely in the studio to make new music. It's going to be hot dance. It's going to have the message of us all coming together and dancing and having a holiday. It will have no features and all new originals with some electronic elements and a delicious bedtime story type vocal. It will change the face of music and put all of us into a trance. It will bring world peace and have 18 songs on the album. The lyrics will reference her health scare, but in a seize the day type of vibe. So there we
Amen.
go. That's Liberty's wishes of what she hopes Madonna was doing in the studio.
It is now
Cheers
out
to
in the
Liberty.
universe.
I
Yeah.
love that somebody has some like sharpening tool to figure out.
Yeah.
Read. I couldn't even zoom in that much.
I
to see-
tried.
I did too.
I
Yeah, I
tried.
tried
Yeah, I
to.
tried.
But I do want to cover off. I know, Ben, you're not a fan of the movie All of Us Strangers, but on the post-it note in one of the shots, you could clearly see All of Us Strangers written. All of Us Strangers is a movie with Andrew Scott, who was the hot priest from Fleabag. If you don't know anything that just came out of my mouth, shame on you. You should look it up.
Yeah.
One of your guests here doesn't know anything.
Oh, okay. So All of Us Strangers is a really great. So it's an indie film by the same guy who did the Looking series on HBO, and he did a movie called The Weekend. All of Us Strangers was just recently out. It's on streaming, so you should give it a view. It's a gay film,
wow.
and Andrew Scott is great in it. And Claire Foy, and who plays the dad?
Jamie
Bell.
Elliott.
Oh yeah,
Jamie
Or
Bell,
Bell,
Billy
yeah.
Elliot.
Billy
Billy
Elliott.
Elliot. Yeah. Yeah. Jamie Bell, i.e. Billy Elliot. They play the parents of Andrew Scott's character. And then who's the boyfriend?
Paul
Paul
Mescal plays
Mescal.
hot neighbor.
Woo! There is some hot scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
It's
A lot to look forward to. Sold.
I know.
Yeah.
I think that film, I mean, because I saw it back in December, and I feel like that film resonated with Madonna because of like the whole themes of love, loss, longing, and parental responsibility, dealing with the loss of a parent, dealing with the loss of your lover. I mean, all these things that it's almost kind of like an ode to like the things we didn't say, the things we didn't
Mm,
do when your loved one is alive. And I think that these are themes that are weighing heavy on Madonna, especially with all her children growing old and her scare,
yeah.
And maybe also seeing her fans come out in full force for each of the celebration tour dates and made her realize that like, wow, I this could have all not happened. This could have been left behind.
Mm.
That's what I think, because when you guys brought up, that was written down, I was like, I can see her resonating to this film.
That's it. Yeah, I was wondering what that had to do with because I was like, why would Madonna be talking about this film? But yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Oh,
that's
but
a
think about it. Like we don't want to spoil it just for
Hmm.
everybody watching and listening. We don't want to spoil, but we can talk about the themes, which as Tony pointed out, it's like grief, but it's also the echo of grief, right?
Hmm.
And loss and aging and
Mhm.
family, but also being alone. Like there's all these dualities that kind of happen. And those are
Hmm.
things that to Leos, they find them curious and sort of creatively invigorating, even if they don't like to exist in them in their actual life. And yeah, when I saw that, that was actually the thing that convinced me it was new music, was seeing that post-it note, and it all just clicked. I was like, oh, everything that she's been going through with herself, her
Hmm.
dad, now Joan has passed, her brother
Oh yeah.
passed, and just all the stuff that she was talking about in like the live to tell section of the tour. So it's definitely at the
Yeah.
front of her mind.
Mm.
Yeah, it totally fertile ground for creativity.
So do you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
think
And
And
sort of, well, I was
it,
just
it
gonna
made
say,
me,
and like,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, sad disco in the line of Confessions.
mm,
Hmm.
Sorry, just
Yeah,
trying to catch
I
my
was
breath.
thinking about what it feels like for a girl, which was inspired by a film, but it took on a whole nother meaning, according to Madonna's lyrics. So I hope it's in the same vein as that.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, most of Madonna's like greatest works are inspired by films. Like think of all of Like a Prayer. The music videos
Hmm.
were almost exclusively thought like inspired by movies. So
Yep.
that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be curious to see what she does talk about, like what her message is. And of course, also am curious as to like what it'll sound like what the soundscape will be because
Yeah.
Hmm.
Stuart's been really great at producing. I mean, he's what are some of his most recent albums that he's been working on?
Used
Dula Peep.
nostalgia.
Yeah.
Okay, right, and he did Aphrodite for Kylie,
Kylie.
and
He
obviously
worked with All
Confessions.
Saints as well. Yeah, and
I'm just
Confession.
like I loved that mixtape that he dropped after the Celebration tour ended, and I was like, oh, if he would do stuff like this with her now. I mean, obviously half of that was samples and other people's
Yeah.
music, but I liked the vibe and the energy off of it. And I thought, well, I mean, even just the mixes that he did for the Celebration tour. I mean,
Yeah.
just those alone, the soundscape for that tour was phenomenal. And
Yeah.
I thought, oh, please, can we just get like something fresh and
Hmm.
forward thinking from her? Because obviously the one thing we don't want is for her to release a new album and then we're like, oh, but this isn't what we were looking for.
Well, that's
Also, I mean, think about this. I mean, they've been working together for the past year. It has been, yeah. So who knows what kind of creative discussions they've had, what kind of influences they had living in the tour.
Mm.
um, the people that they've met, the experiences that they had, and they sit down together at the studio and they're like, oh, remember this? Let's write about that. That's what
mm,
I'm thinking too.
yeah.
What were you gonna
Yeah,
say,
and
Ahmad?
Esther's mixtape dropped, so maybe she can do some tracks.
I know, right?
Couldn't that be funny? Ahmad, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just wondering. So on your point, what are we? That's what I was thinking about all day. What sound are we hoping for? Because I don't think we want an exact Confessions part two. So what are we hoping for as a sound? Like,
I mean, I've always said on the show, we want it to be some like a forward dance sound. I think she kind of needs to sort of get back to a Madonna sound. Madam X
Yeah.
was a very large departure for her. So when you think about, and I mean, even to a point, like Rebel Heart was sort of a bit of a distance from her normal sound, just because it was that record was sort of, it started with Avicii, and then Diplo had to step in, and then who else? Who produced some? Wasn't it like didn't
It was,
Kanye?
yeah, Mike Dean, yeah,
Yeah.
and
So it was like
Blood Pop,
it was
yeah.
just like a bunch of different people sort of with their hands all over that, and I do think, Madonna having said recently she just wants to get back to basics and do something old school where it's just her and one person. And I think that's what she's aiming to do. As far as the sound goes, I mean, I want to be surprised personally. I want it to
Yeah.
be
The
something that
mixtape.
I wasn't expecting to hear, like I want it to sound inherently like her in the way. And I go back to this all the time when Bedtime Stories, which is going to be celebrating its 30th anniversary in a couple of weeks. Um, when Bedtime Story came out, I remember thinking this is such a large departure for her in terms of how it sounded compared to some of the other albums and songs that she had been releasing up until that point. But at the same time, I felt like Bedtime Story sounded so inherent Madonna that it just made
Hmm.
sense to me. Like I feel like a lot of her albums, when she would shift sounds, it just made sense. It was like, yes, this is a natural progression for her. It made sense for her to live in this world. But then as some of the later albums, I feel like it didn't work that way. And I'm hoping that maybe we get a return to form with this.
Yeah. Well said. I think that working with one producer is what always hits it out of the park with Madonna. And I'm glad we're back to that because these patchwork albums that we had since, I mean, I guess since Hard Candy, right?
I
I
mean, I
mean,
guess
Hard
Hard
MDNA.
Candy
Candy
was
had
still
more.
two producers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it had. You're right. It had more focus, but yeah, MDNA, Rebel Heart, that was like, oh, let's just invite everybody to work on this,
Yeah.
Purple Heart's
and
particular, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
And
fun to see what she does with a focus, like if it's just I mean, I'm fine if there's other people who work on the project, but I think having Stuart be like the creative director overseeing everything would be really fantastic to tie all
mhm.
of the ideas together.
Yeah,
And I
Ben,
like
genuinely feel
even
like Stuart has a very special place in his heart for Madonna. Maybe, but if you read his interviews, it kind of seems like he's a fan in a way, which makes sense because she's the one who kind of discovered him and made him this big thing. And he went on to work with Kylie and whoever because of Madonna. So I have a feeling like if he's had good stuff recently, he's kind of parked on the side and was like, okay, maybe I'm going to give this to Madonna. That's what I'm hoping for, at least.
Mhm. Yeah.
that would be great. Ben, what are people saying in the comments?
well, kind of all the same stuff we were saying, and then we got derailed by commentary about Ingrid.
Ingrid.
It's yeah, it's not worth it. Um,
Ingrid's
Oh,
yeah.
not worth it.
you chatters.
Yeah, but someone was talking about that. Oh shoot, now I have to find it. Well, everybody was talking also about how the 90s are back and
Mm.
so like that kind of music, like the
Oh
house,
my
how she said
God.
that in the video. I mean, the mixtape, I still go back to that's the template. It feels like how the mixtape felt how Justify My Love and Rescue Me were the blueprint for erotica. The
Mm.
mixtape feels like the blueprint for the next album.
I
I
would
hope
I
so.
would
Yeah.
love that. Like
Yeah.
full wholehearted. Now, God forbid that's the thing we look forward to, and then that's the exact opposite that she does. But
Yeah.
because there's always
No,
that.
what you guys are talking about is exactly what I would love it. And then like with one big ballad that hits,
Yeah, I mean,
because
I'm not opposed to
she,
having some slow songs.
yeah, no, she devoted a lot of real estate to her ballads on tour. She finally realized that those are her biggest hits worldwide, they're not necessarily the fan demand, but, um, you know, when she does take a bow, everybody, you know, when I saw it in San Francisco, she did take a bow, and everyone was like, "Oh my God," you know, because no one
Mm-hmm.
expects that, but it's what they want, you know.
Oh, I
So
mean, live to tell. I mean,
yeah.
what
Oh
an
God.
epic moment on that show. And
Hmm.
I think that was when I sort of understood, like every time you'd hear the opening notes of that in whatever city I was in, the applause, the awestruck
Hmm.
moment that people were, and it's such a big song. And when you listen to
Yeah.
her ballads, I mean, as much as I'm the dance queen and I'm always like, come on, Madonna, take us to the dance floor, you can't deny that she's got such beautiful ballads. I mean, they're just
Yeah.
amazing songs, and I would love to hear a couple more, you know. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
has
And
does
you know,
Stuart done slow ballad
Ecstatic
songs?
Process,
True. Yes.
which Liberty
Mm,
has the most beautiful cover of on Spotify. I'm just saying.
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so right. Yeah,
One of my favorite songs from American Life. Stewart wrote and produced it.
there you go.
Hmm.
Well, he
Okay.
produced the initial. I think Mirway like did the final
Like
version that's
deconstructed
on.
it or like souped
Yeah,
it up
yeah.
or that makes sense.
Yeah,
Oh
as
yeah.
long as Mirwais stays in France and no, I mean, you know, I think they both had their time together. Madam X, you know, had hits and misses. But I think this is return to form for her, you know. It's not necessarily about being experimental. I think she can see that after this tour that people didn't leave the house and pay $1,000 to see her, you know, chop and screw one of her hits. You know, they wanted it straight up and she gave it to them. So maybe this is that direction that she's going to be going in.
Yeah, to just go back to basics for her. I think you know, if there was an 80s feel, I mean a 90s an early 90s feel, that'd be fantastic. Like it just
Mm,
seems like that's the music she should go back to and revisit just because
mhm.
I mean, she invented it, you know, like all those
Yeah.
sounds and those soundscapes.
Exactly.
It's like it would not again, not repeat what she did, but sort of go back almost like, you know, like do something new, but a looking back type of, you know, looking back type of way. Yeah, I'd love
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Um, I also saw she was attending a soccer game while she was in London, and
I love how
Well,
that's
she's
completely.
yeah. She's got a boyfriend that she needs to entertain, you know how kids are.
Yeah.
yeah,
I do have my cousin's actually a massive Chelsea fan, and that's how I kind of related. I was like, "Oh, see, Madonna went to a Chelsea game." He was like, "Oh wow, okay." So that's how you
Mhm.
push the gay agenda a little further, you know.
I
Mhm.
did think it was interesting though that she's going there. Like she's recording in London as opposed to, I mean, I guess for Madonna, an international flight is nothing these days, but it's interesting that she's like been going to London to work with him a couple of times. And I wonder if that's because they're just making sure that this is kept under lock and key, like as opposed to her like emailing stuff
Mm,
and it like God forbid like when she had that whole Israeli hack, the guy who like hacked her
Yeah.
computer and like that's why we got the Rebel Heart leak and like she must be, if this is a new album, she's being so, I mean the fact that she's hopping on a plane just to make sure this stuff doesn't leak, you know, good for
And
Yeah,
her.
we
I
know
I
they
hope
work fast together.
yeah.
So yeah, she only has to go over there a few times and they could be finished.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I hope that their conversation was let's do it the way we did Confessions. That worked, you know?
yeah, how fast was it that they did that album?
They recorded it 6 months, but it came out a year after they. That's what I looked this stuff up, but Ben's holding up a two. Is it two
I
years?
thought it was 2 months. I thought it took them
2 months.
2 months in the summer of '05 to do that, and then it
Wow.
came out in November.
So
Not of the same year.
Wikipedia said
Yeah.
6 months for recording, but
Think
that's
it,
what
she was on tour all of 2004.
it's true.
It came out that fast?
I think they recorded that in the spring and early summer of 2005, and it came out, and then it came out in November, hung up. Remember, because it came out with the stupid cell. She fell
Yeah, it
off
was
the
that Biggie
horse.
no. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she fell off the
Oh, right.
horse around her birthday,
Yeah.
and then the video came out like Yeah, because then she was on Letterman in like November
Yeah,
and
on the
Oh
horse.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
And then she did the MTV Europe, and you could tell she was still a little wobbly, but pulled it
Yeah.
off. MTV Europe,
I
VMAs.
just I feel like she takes much more time these days than she used
She
to.
does, but yeah, that's not to say they couldn't. Like they're writing songs and but yeah, you're right. They're not emailing tracks or anything like that. Like it's all being done on a secure server in his house.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
haven't seen Mike Dean and his jars of weed anywhere either. So
thank God.
Yeah, I think we need a break from Mike Dean. And that his sound, it's okay, but
I think Madonna needs to steer clear of the R&B hip hop scene. It doesn't serve her well. Let other people do it, but like we
right.
say, go back to basics.
Guest on another track with The Weeknd and
Hmm.
fulfill your R&B desires that way, Madonna. But I think we need a dance album. I think it needs to be uplifting and lyrics that we come to know and love from her. I think it needs to be catchy. I don't want
Yeah.
an album full of collaborations. Like I want some just inherent Madonna songs, like
Mhm.
catchy and buoyant and when do we think we would get this though? Because so like when she did
Spring.
Madam X, I mean that took her ages to when she was teasing being back in the studio. We didn't get that for like a year and a half. Like, and I assume she's gonna steer clear of any other banner albums from other pop stars. So like she's not gonna go up against Lady Gaga's album, which is coming out in like January or
February.
February. So
Right.
like and I'm assuming she's going to want to come, she'll want to put something out maybe after we get the tour film and the tour audio. So, like,
Yeah.
maybe the tour film and the tour audio will be those mysterious January dates that were like
Yeah.
being circulated. Like, somebody saw on her website that there was like a couple dates in January that were like the popped up and then disappeared.
Yeah.
So,
You
maybe
know what
when,
we haven't considered? She
yes.
could be doing another version of Celebration as the greatest hits, and they're recording new songs for that, a la Immaculate Collection.
I don't know. We've
I
had
don't feel
so many
this.
greatest hits though.
But when did the last one come out?
2 years
2009,
ago? No.
15 years ago.
No. Remixed
Finally.
and
Oh,
revisited.
Oh,
I mean,
Finally Enough
yeah,
Love.
Finally enough
yeah,
love. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that
Yeah,
counts.
that's a little
yeah,
too. I mean, I don't feel like she's had enough albums since the last like greatest hits that she'd be able to
Yeah, you're right. Well, maybe she's just gonna do like a tight 9 or 10 track album with Stewart and like
find.
that's
pop it
what I
out in
feel.
a few
yeah.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine
And
with a
yeah,
Yeah.
if you
tight
think
10.
I think what Stephen was saying about the timeline for like maybe next early spring
Mhm.
or late, early summer, whatever, that kind of makes sense. All the divas and girlies have pretty much everyone's released stuff or is about to release stuff. She won't compete with Kylie. She won't compete with Lady Gaga. The only one holdout would be Rihanna, but we don't,
Good luck. That's
but
not
yeah,
happening.
Oh, so in the chat, people are like, well, what about the biopic? Da 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 da. But everybody has to remember the biopic is on hold for a while because Julia Garner is off filming a Marvel movie for several months. And
hmm
her character is going to be heavy CGI. So she's going to be there doing motion capture, like Josh Brolin as Thanos on the set. And then she's going to have to go and do a bunch of green screen stuff. She's probably not even available to start filming until next summer at
Yeah.
the
yeah,
earliest.
You're right. So if you think about it, like Madonna, like get the album done, roll it out, and then yeah, because I think her in terms of timeline, like I could see her doing like filming the movie in like the fall. Because I think originally she was meant to do the filming of the biopic in like September, October, November, in those months, where then she'd like edit and this like I forget the original timeline of what the movie was, but yeah, like I could see her. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe she'd release an album and then do a little mini tour in the summer and then go right into doing the biopic in the fall.
Well, and consider she's probably also inspired by the fact that Beyonce has put out an entire album and didn't do any videos or anything. She just has done stuff on social media. It's right up her alley to put something out cheap that can get streams, and they can put out all the vinyls to make the Taylor Swift money and like that. But she doesn't have to spend money on videos. She doesn't have to do any press. Like, she just puts it out there.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, it's a new ball game. So I mean, I could see her doing videos like the Frozen remix videos that she did with Ricardo, because he's there, he's already being paid. So it's not like they have to hire some
Right.
David Fincher-esque video director and pay a huge fee. Like
Oh
Ricardo's
God, I
just doing it because
wish David Fincher would come
oh, I mean, I
back.
I
wish
know,
too.
right?
Yeah, like
Maybe the lead single, maybe.
there
And
has to
also
be at least
depends
there
how
has to
well
be
it's
one
received.
visual, right?
Because think of
Does
Confessions,
there?
they only had two proper videos. I mean, Jump and then Get Together are kind of like, not like full-fledged videos. So yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be too many. Maybe
And I mean, if we're talking wants and needs, there's always the fact that maybe she goes the exact opposite route and we get an entire visual album, like how great would it
Now
be, Ben, if
Stefan.
she did
Yeah,
yeah,
something, if
don't
she
get
don't.
crazy.
if
I
she
would,
did something epic like FK Twigs Asexual.
wow.
You know what I mean? Like, let's
Oh God, I'm about to lose it. Oh.
all right. It won't be
Or
a
it
full,
could
it
it
won't
could
be
go
a
the
visual album.
If Madam
opposite
X wasn't
direction
a
as
visual, sorry, if Madam X wasn't a
uh
visual album, nothing else is. Because that was, if any album kind of had that feeling, it was Madam X.
mhm.
Tony, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was like, we could go the opposite way, and it could be like Fergie's visual album, which got like 3 streams and then got forgotten.
Yeah, well, hopefully, yeah. Look, if she was gonna do a visual album, I would want it to be on the level of like when Beyonce does her visual albums, where
Yeah.
it's just like Lemonade. It's like epic, but in the Madonna way, as opposed to I don't want it to be like what was that train wreck Jennifer Lopez thing that just came out?
Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah. A
I
$20
mean,
million folly.
yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want that. Like
Yeah,
that's not what we don't want. So poor
yeah.
J
I
Lo.
just don't. Yeah, I don't think. I bet if she does do a record or even an EP or something, I bet we don't get any videos. Maybe
I mean, I'd
one.
be fine if she's just decided to just do live performances instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine. I'm fine with that.
I'd love her on some TV shows just doing a
Yeah.
song.
I'd also be
Mm.
fine with no boyfriend input into her work this time.
Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't there.
Yeah, true. He wasn't in the studio this time.
true. He
I
was the
know.
one taking the pictures.
No,
Kidding,
that
sorry.
was Ricardo.
No,
I know.
whoever took the pictures erased their reflection from the mirror that's on the wall above Stuart's
Yeah,
head.
I
If you
saw that.
zoomed in, they clearly were like
Uh,
pixelated out. So,
Oh, you good old
that's the
Ricardo.
well,
That's what.
there was. Did you guys read the article that was in People today about her beau's ex-girlfriend?
What
Apparently, this
was that?
guy. Well,
No,
so
what is it?
it was they met in Vegas and dated for a couple years, and I guess this guy, even before he was in the paper magazine shoot, he was one of the caretakers for one of the kids. This was what the girlfriend said in the interview, and I was like, "Oh, so he's been in the mix for a while." Yeah.
Okay. And then, like, what? Started dating Madonna and dumped her?
Oh no, they were split up for like a year before
Oh,
that
okay.
Madonna and him like showed up on social media.
I see. I see. Oh, I
Yeah,
thought that's
yeah.
what I thought that's what the article was when I saw it. I was like, what is she trash talking?
Oh no, no. She had nothing bad to say. She was like, "Oh, he was nice and da da da." And yeah. Oh yeah, no, no. Nothing negative.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But it still was like, "Oh, this guy started as like the babysitter and now he's the boo." Like,
Well, hey, Madonna's got to trust that these people are safe and secure and not out for
yeah, yeah.
money
I
and,
mean, there's career ladders everywhere.
I know. And she probably doesn't want to rewrite Unapologetic Bitch with this guy, so.
Yeah,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. Um, well, if we don't have any other things going on in the chat that we need to respond to, or
Uh, Everybody wants it to be like the Ray of Light Kabbalah, like 13 track album, it seems. That was a popular opinion. Because I posted, do we want Liberty's 18-track Gigantor record, or do we want? I would prefer like a 9 or 10 True Blue, Like a
Yeah.
Prayer,
I agree.
concise artistic statement.
Like the music
But a lot
album,
of people,
10 tracks,
Yeah.
and then
yeah,
it's over.
but a lot of people
Yeah.
still, and I'm not gonna lie, the 13 tracks of Ray of Light worked perfectly. I still think it's her most perfect album, so I
Yeah.
can be down with
I
that.
do
Yeah.
like the thought of an odd number. Yeah, like I'm more attracted to odd numbers than I am even numbers, but there is something nice about a tight 10. And in today's world, maybe she does that like a super release, or maybe she's recording more stuff so that way it comes out. Who knows? I mean, who knows what she's doing, or I mean, it could just be a couple of extra tracks that maybe she's tacking on to the the live audio album for the tour DVD as like an incentive for people to want to pick it up, so it's not a whole new album. I mean, look, I always want a new Madonna album, so I'm selfish in thinking that that's what it is, but I also try to temper my expectations and be like, it'll be 2 songs at the end of the live album as a reason for us to get it, since we already have the Rio leak, I mean, no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we'll see. We shall see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Hopefully it comes sooner rather than later. I know people were blowing up, messaging me, being like, "What do we think it is? What do we think it is?" And I'm like, I did have somebody message me, not really revealing my sources, but because I don't even know if it's true. I was like, "Stop trolling me!" But they had said they have it on good authority that she has been working on good music. I'm like, well, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
Like, but
Yeah.
Well, again, it goes back that she did have like the Max Martin and some other stuff that it had been confirmed she'd been working on. It makes sense if Stuart absorbs those into whatever this project is, just like they did with Confessions. Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I was
it
gonna say
makes sense.
yeah, the same thing. Like she has a few tracks. Maybe with Stuart, they can visualize a whole vision. And then honestly, also remember while we were talking a couple of months ago, there was a rumor that there was a photo that came out of her in London, and a lot of people were saying she's actually working with Stuart. It was circulating Twitter. That was a month or two ago.
Mhm.
So it seems, yeah, there is meat to this rumor. So I'm really hopeful, especially after this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like to think that, yeah, like Tony was saying, they spent a year on the road together. Hopefully they were, hey, what do we think about doing something like this? Like
Mm-hmm.
ideas percolating, where like I like to think that she's always in a creative mindset, especially when she's around other really great creative people like Stuart. And if he was on the road with her and she liked that mixtape that they did, I mean, it's not far removed to think that she'd be like, yeah, let's put out something. Let's put out some music. And it could be like,
Yeah.
remember when Something to Remember came out and it was just she just released the music. There was no big promotion. She didn't do performances. She didn't do videos. She just released the album. And maybe it'll be something quiet like that. I mean,
Yeah.
not the music, but like maybe the rollout. It'll just be like, here
And
you
we
go.
got 3 videos.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, she tried to promote Something to Remember at the VMAs, but then somebody hit her with a compact. So
Yeah.
Oh, Courtney Love.
Yeah.
Um, well, everybody, I guess that's our short and sweet, not too short, but our short and sweet this week in Chicone. Thanks for joining us for a spontaneous chat. Remember, you can find us on Instagram, X, and Threads at MLVC Podcast. Just a reminder, I said it last night, I'll say it again. Facebook closed down our Facebook page. So if you were following us on Facebook, it's gone, and we're not able to come bring it back because Facebook thought we were impersonating Madonna, which we obviously weren't, but it's
mm-mm.
gone. So join us on Instagram because that's where we live. You can donate to the show on Venmo to MLVC Podcast, or tick that like button on YouTube and you can donate via Super Thanks. And if you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, tick that subscribe button so you never miss a video. Otherwise, Ahmad, thanks for joining us and being game to hop on real quick and share some thoughts. Any parting words for you?
No. I honestly am just thankful she's in between Stuart's hands again, like whatever happens, even if this isn't a new record, she's in that world it's gonna happen. That's what I'm thinking.
Hmm. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping we get some goodness coming our way.
Yes.
Because you know when she's in the studio, she loves to tease that she's in this, that she's working on the music
Yeah.
constantly. Like, remember when she was
Hashtag
doing Rebel
magic.
Heart?
Oh
Yeah,
my
Rebel
God.
Heart. It was months of constant
Yeah.
stuff. So like maybe this is her way of, you know, she's all Lady Gaga and she's just like, you're not the only pop star around.
Yeah, let's just hope this doesn't jinx it.
Oh God, right?
Hashtag magic. Hashtag jinx.
All right, you
Oh my
three stay where you're at. Until next time, everybody. We're waving goodbye if you are listening.
God.